Hey, welcome back to Mobility Project. We're going to set you up for the next few days of programming today. We're going to kind of spread these out for you. What's happening is that I'm wearing a shirt that says Liquid somewhere. Liquid is a kayak camp that my wife and I started 8 years ago for kids with HIV and AIDS. It's an embodied leadership school. We'll be up on the river kayaking this week with our camp doctor. So if I get internet access, I'll put it up. If we don't, we won't get it. But I'm going to give you guys some ideas for the next week or so. I know we're going to be shooting up on the river with some funny kids. In the meantime, here's what we're going to think about today. The first thing is that working on overhead and recovering overhead. We're going to take a little bit different approach today. The most kind of salient idea is, hey, we need to mobilize the position of restriction, that movement restriction. And as I kind of enter the tunnel of movement, I'm either going to be in a start position as a good place to mobilize, or a finish position is another good place to mobilize. And that finish position overhead, pull up, jerking, whatever, that overhead position really requires lots of external rotation to kind of be able to finish that. So whenever I'm working overhead, I need to make sure that I can fully externally rotate and work overhead at the same time. So take a look at this. First idea, and you guys should see this by now, is that when we load this band up and try to get overhead with it, the first thing that happens is that people tend to turn the palm down, and that is that kind of open shoulder position, shoulder forward. There's not a lot of extra rotation to kind of wind up that ball of the socket in the joints. That rotational aspect, when I create torque, that creates stability in the joint. If I'm just pulling on it, no wonder we see athletes kind of looking for stability. But when I create that extra rotation is when I create stability. So when I'm in this position, palm down, that leaves me in this kind of loosey-goosey position. You can do this test with yourself that if you put your hands out, belly tight, reach as far as you can, you'll see that you have a lot of excursion of those shoulders forward. Don't just round off the shelf. You can see how much capsular slack you have. As soon as you externally rotate and press, there's much more tension. The musculature holds that shoulder in place, the capsule's wound up, and you've taken up all that slack. So the idea, anytime we're working overhead, is to really bias that position of extra rotation first, press the hand, and then hang out. And what's nice here is I can even cue this extra rotation. So just back out, work yourself into some strange corners that feels tight for you. Let's go 2 minutes there. Second piece, let's go ahead and work on some of the soft tissue, specifically kind of the flank here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay on that side. I'm going to really put that arm over my head, palm facing up, and then I'm just going to kind of whirl back, and I can even work on some of that rotation through there. And I'm just going to find all those corners where I feel a little bit tacked down and nasty. And that lat is an enormous muscle. If you've ever done too many pull-ups, you realize how far your lat goes down your butt. So I'm just going to externally rotate, and then, it feels like I'm building pressure there. It feels like something's going to pop. That's me. And I'm just going to rotate through and just kind of mobilize back and forth. The rumble roller is a great idea for this. Any roller that you've got, just hang out. And you're going to camp out in some spots. Here, no tension, palm up, big tension. Final idea comes from our friends at Trigger Point. Same idea. They've used a foam block here, which I like because it just allows the ball to anchor. But if you don't have a foam block, that's fine. Pressing that thing into your lat, wind that leg behind, and you can kind of kick back and forth over that lat. So you can just find an anchor spot down here. You can really twist through and just feel yourself clunk over some of those tight segments. Pay attention to what the arm's doing. It's got to externally rotate at the top. Be tight, wind that thing up. You can kick that arm away. You can really lean. You can even tack and stretch this way. The idea is to do some informed freestyling. I've just done my right side. That seemed to have made a difference. I can't tell. You? Yeah, and that's the idea. This is kind of appropriate pre-workout stuff, but don't be afraid if you're blown out to hit it afterwards. We'll see you guys tomorrow, and we'll see you in a week.